Now, why are we talking so heavily about this emotional journey? Because we want you to finally, once and for all, find a way to quantify your journey. When Jerry and Esther travel from Phoenix to San Diego, they know how to do it. They know that San Diego is west. And they know that they have to get on the road and head west. And they know that if they head west for about 400 miles, they'll end up where they're wanting to be. And even though the majority of that 400 miles, they are out in the desert and not where they want to be, they don't lose heart because the journey is understandable. They know they're headed in the right direction, and so they have a very good time on their way to where they want to be. But sometimes we see you sick, wanting to be well, and you don't know which way is the direction to wellness. Sometimes we see you with not enough money, wanting more money, but you don't know which is the way to more money because you try this, you try this, you try this, you try this. That would be like Jerry and Esther finding themselves in Yuma about the halfway point out there in Arizona and getting so frustrated that they're not yet in San Diego that they get all disoriented and turn around and go back to Phoenix. And we see that with you. Sometimes you're sick on your way to wellness. Vibrationally, you are well along the way, but then you stop and take score, and because you don't see any physical evidence, you get all disoriented and turn around and head in the opposite direction. And the reason you do that, oh, you're really going to like this, or at least we do. The reason you do this is because more than 99.99, really a lot, percentage of creation is complete before you see any physical evidence. So, if you're feeling for vibrational evidence, you can tell you're going in the right direction. If anger feels better to you than the depression you had over such and such a subject, you're headed in the right direction. But you don't want to get stuck in anger. You want to reach for frustration. And frustration is going in the right direction. But you don't want to get stuck in frustration. You want to reach for pessimism. But you don't want to get stuck in pessimism. You want to reach for hopefulness. But you don't want to get stuck in hopefulness. You want to reach for optimism and for belief. And you don't even want to get stuck in belief. You want to reach for knowing, you see. In other words, there is relief in all of these emotions all the way along the emotional scale. So, you've heard us say it before, and we're not ever going to stop saying it. Nothing is more important than that you feel good. Because the way you feel is your indication that you're moving in the direction of your desire. Do you believe that you are worthy beings who get to choose your own desires? Please say yes. Please mean it when you say it. In other words, we want so much for you to understand that you get to choose. You get to decide. You came forth into this leading edge environment, understanding that you are a creator. And you know that well-being is the basis of this universe in which we are all focused. And you know that well-being is flowing, wants to flow consistently, is the basis of your experience. So, unless you're doing something that stifles or slows the flow of well-being, you're going to thrive. And we notice that quite a few of you do quite a bit that stifles the flow of well-being in your experience. Because you have somewhere along your physical trail lost sight of your own guidance system, and you have begun to allow others to guide you from the outside. Esther was watching granddaughter Kate, who is not 3 yet, but close to it. And she may very well be, certainly by Esther's opinion, the most delightful child who has ever lived. She doesn't cry, she doesn't complain. She smiles, she plays nonstop. She looks for wonderful things to do. She feels good. She was lying in the middle of the floor the other day in Jerry and Esther's bedroom, and Esther is sitting in a chair watching her, and she said, "I'm happy." And Esther said, "I know you are. It shows in every way." But then Esther notices that Kate watches Esther because it's important to Kate that Esther be happy too. So sometimes Kate does things not only to make Kate happy, mostly to make Kate happy, we're happy to say, But sometimes she does things to make Esther happy, or Jerry, or her mother, or her father. And then they go out to a restaurant. And Kate is so wonderful to be with. She never complains. She eats her food. She colors. She plays with you. She's quiet if you're talking. She talks to you if you'll talk to her. Perfect dinner companion. And then there's a child next door. Oh, what a child. Squabbling, fighting, bickering, complaining, whining, kicking the bench. And Esther is thinking, this is a very good child, and this is not. And then a startling realization descended on Esther. I do not want to be a proponent of asking anyone to behave in the way that pleases me, if it trains them in any way away from their own guidance system. Well, it's the tricky thing, isn't it? How do you live in a world where there are so many others who have so many opinions about how you behave? And after all, you don't want to be an outcast. Esther would have liked to cast out that noisy child. Esther loves children, but this one was really getting on her nerves. Esther would have liked those parents to have done whatever Kate's parents did that make her behave in public. But Esther does not want that child or any child to care more about behaving for others than about how it feels for self. Now, what we would like Esther to understand is that that child was not feeling good right now. And if that child could be encouraged to think thoughts that feel good, then that child could have come back into alignment easily. In other words, it's not either or. You don't have to have misbehaving people in order to have people that feel free. It is possible for you to have it all. You can feel good and be in alignment with Source and not make waves in your civilization around you. In other words, you can have it all. But Esther is on the right track as she is beginning to pay attention, because she can see that every now and again she will begin to say something to Kate because she is wanting Kate to perform in a certain way, and Esther is realizing that she may be stepping on Kate's creative toes. She may be encouraging Kate to care more about what Grandma thinks than about what Kate thinks or about what inner being thinks, you see. And Esther would like Kate to be able to stay connected to her source of inner being. Esther would like Kate to lay on the floor when she's 5 and 6 and 7 and 20 and 40 and 50 and 60 and still announce, I'm happy, and mean it in the same way, you see. And that is our wish for you. We want you to come back into your alignment of well-being. And as we are moving forward here today, we're going to show you how to do it. Step by step, thought by thought, experience by experience, example by example. We're going to take an emotional journey as often as you will allow it, and we will show you how to line up with source energy. We want you to understand, and we'll say it very bluntly here, that your alignment with source and your success at whatever you are attempting is all about the alignment of energy within you. In other words, it really is about making a decision and then lining up with the decision that you've made. Nothing is more detrimental to your outcome of success or detrimental to your personal physical experience than to do something that you believe is wrong, or to make yourself do something that you don't want to do. In other words, that contradiction in energy is not good for you. And so what we want you to come around to understanding as we are chewing here today is that there are not these black and white, stark right and wrongs assigned in this universe, but there are contradictions within you. And so your work is to line up with who you are, which means make a decision and then line up with the decision. Don't oppose your own decision. We were visiting with someone not too long ago who was in the process of making a decision about hiring someone. And they were sort of not certain if it was a good idea. And as they talked to us about it, we gave them all of the reasons that it was a good idea. And as they listened to the reasons that we offered about why it was a good idea, these people came into vibrational alignment with themselves. And then we said the most important thing to them relative to the process. Now, don't go back and revisit this subject. Don't open it for discussion again. Don't go back and second guess yourself and say, did I make the right decision? Stay in alignment with your decision. Continue to beat the drum of why this is a good decision. Do you know you could buy that house or that house? You could marry that person or that person. You could live on that coast or that coast. You could live in that country or that country. And it wouldn't make any difference at all in terms of your joy or your well-being. But if you live there and say, maybe I should live there, you've got split energy going on. If you're going to live there, decide that you're going to live there and make the best of living there. Don't torture yourself by saying, I shouldn't have done it. Buyer's remorse is about making a decision because everything was lined up and making the decision and then second guessing yourself and splitting your energy. And then when you live out the repercussions of your split energy, then you conclude, see, I made the wrong decision. And we want you to understand you did not make the wrong decision. You just screwed it up after you made the decision. You made the decision and then you unmade the decision and then you made the decision and then you unmade the decision and you caused vibrational chaos in your vibrational field and then you set up all sorts of walls of resistance so that the well-being that would have come to you if you had stayed in vibrational alignment with your decision can't come to you because you are vibrationally not allowing it. So, does that mean that there are no absolute rights and wrongs in this universe? It means that anything that is an absolute right, you can feel in your emotion. And anything that is really contrary to who you are as God force or source energy, you can feel it in your energy. In other words, if you look at someone and you say, I hate your guts, you certainly have the right to say that, and your opinion certainly is valid. But when you focus that kind of criticism towards someone that from a non-physical, God-force standpoint you love, you contradict your energy. So there are plenty of things that you are justified in saying, doing, or feeling that don't line up with who you really are. So if you want to return to the well-being that you were born with, to the source energy that is really who you are, then just follow Joseph Campbell's advice and make a decision that you will follow your bliss. And then embark upon the process that Abraham is encouraging, where from your depression you follow your bliss, but you use your temporary goal of anger as your goal. And then you continue to follow your bliss from your state of anger, but you use your temporary goal of frustration. And then you continue to follow your bliss, but you use your temporary goal of overwhelmment. And then you continue to follow your bliss, but you use your temporary goal of looking for belief. And then you continue to follow your bliss, but you use your temporary goal of trying to find that place of appreciation. And what we notice is that almost all of you, once you make it all the way to frustration, can get about anywhere on the emotional scale you decide to go within an hour or two. But sometimes it takes a few days to get there, depending upon how long you've been